What is the mussel population like today?
Well, according to a study done on Lake Pepin from 1990 to 1997, overall population diversity dropped by half, and that's continuing to progress, much of which is due to major collection for the button industry, collection of the mussel shells to start up pearls, and then dredging of our rivers, pollution, and isolating these mussels from their fish hosts through locks and dams.
How do mussels help or benefit water ecosystems?
Well, mussels act as kind of a keystone animal. When they settle down into the substrate, they hold all the sand and mud together, and they provide habitat for small little larvae, like insect larvae, and then fish larvae and larger larvae, and they allow the substrate to hold still so plants can take root. So they're kind of this base component of major ecosystems. And in addition to that, the way that they filter and clean water at about 1 liter per hour, they pull all that algae out of the water system, clearing it up, allowing those plants that are kind of rooted in nearby to be able to grow and get sunlight.
What could happen if mussels went completely extinct?
You would see all of our waters be just completely cloudy. We would see no filtration or depositing of those sediments, so we would just see algae and all the mud and muck just flowing downstream, and we'd get a lot more erosion that way. So we'd see our entire ecosystem kind of crumble.
All right, what makes up a healthy water ecosystem?
All right, so parts of a healthy ecosystem there's physical and there's chemical, and then there's biological aspects of an ecosystem that we look at. So biological, you're looking at especially the macroinvertebrates that live in the water. And the different macroinvertebrates have different tolerances to pollution and different oxygen levels and temperatures as well. So being an important part of the food chain, then they feed the other larger macroinvertebrates and then small fish and larger fish. So that they are an important indicator of like the biological integrity of an ecosystem.
What is the zoo doing to help the mussels?
The zoo's working with the Minnesota DNR, Department of Natural. We're supposed to say the whole name. So the zoo is working with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources to help with a head starting program. So where we've identified areas where mussels used to be and are now gone due to pollution or inability to reproduce due to loss of those fish hosts, we're working on getting those little babies, growing them up to their really large size, about 30 millimeters, big enough so that they're not going to be eaten by muskrats and other predators, and they have a really good chance of survival. So we're helping with that, and we're trying to aid them in any other their propagation or restoration efforts for doing mussel surveys. And another big thing that we do is just talk to guests that come to the zoo and help them be aware that there's an issue, that there's a problem, and kind of just what they can do to help.
What can people do at home to help save the mussels?
So some of the easy things to do are just kind of change some of your behaviors. So things that negatively impact mussels are the way fertilizers wash off into our waterways and increase those algae populations, and they can smother a lot of the mussels. So by reducing the amount of fertilizer you put on your lawn, or just making sure that when you apply fertilizer, you sweep it back into your lawn and don't let it wash away. Another thing you can do is, especially in fall, make sure you rake up all your leaves, because that stuff gets into the gutter systems, it decomposes and adds a lot of fertilizer back into the water. And another thing you can do is clean up your pet waste. So all the pet waste that is produced, if that stuff gets into our waterways, it just contributes to that even more. So those are some kind of really easy things that you can do at home. Larger things you can do are incorporate ways that you can maintain water to stay on your property. Things like rain gardens or community rain gardens. Just planting those natural vegetation, allowing water to sink back in where it falls.